Shalom, shalom, everybody. Nice to see you all. This holiday season has for me been, I think, the toughest in my whole life. I think God is really breaking me down in every way He can think of, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And, when I read these words in the Torah, some of them are so harsh. They are so hard. But they come from the mouth of God. So how do we say them, you know, to whom, when? I'm a coward. I'm exhausted fighting. I fight with my family because I hear things coming out of their mouth that drive me absolutely nuts. And I don't say a word. And then I hear people say, but you're at an age you have to teach, you have to tell, you have to talk about them. It's really hard. And I can only begin to imagine what Moshe went through. I mean, he was with our people for 40 years. And I think almost as long as I'm here with our congregation. And it's his message is it's such a simple one. And if only we listened. But then I realized the longer I walk with God, the more I realize that our words cannot change people's hearts. It has to be God who does it. And my heart breaks when I see what's happening to Israel. My heart breaks when I see Jews who are so leftist, pro-Palestinian Jews. I just I can't take it. Um, my heart breaks when people think that keeping kosher is more important than keeping the Shabbat. Uh, there's so many things that we see in this world that is making us I think it's making us sick emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So let's continue to pray that God would show us, that God would use us, that He would show us when to speak and how to speak it. I ask God for that all the time, especially with to my children and my friends. Um, I don't really have much more to say. Anybody want to say something about what you heard today from Haazinu?
I'll start so Mauricio can have more time. Um, uh, yeah, what you said about, God fixing the boundaries of the nations in relationship to their numbers, meaning to the boundaries that God has given to Israel, which the nations don't accept, right? And if that, I just want to be clear that I understand it.
Well, I think it probably has more than one
Yeah,
direct
right,
meaning.
right. No,
Yeah.
for sure. But because that's amazing that basically it's only God can fix the boundaries of the nations and which we don't listen to that. And
Right.
and that reminds me of one of my favorite verses. It's similar to this in the book. I think it's in Acts in the Messianic writings when it says God has put you, each one of us, and it must includes the nations in a specific place and a specific time. We were placed here. I just love that verse. It's not an accident. It's not a coincidence. It's not, this is where each one of us is placed in a certain place, a certain time. And that's like a microcosm of the greater placement of all the nations, which is amazing. I just wanted to see if I understood when you said Israel is, excuse me, microcosm of the nation, of the placement of the nations. Are you talking about how God has set the boundaries of Israel and the nations are their boundaries are in relationship to Israel's boundaries? Is that what you meant?
I think it's bigger than that.
No, but what did you mean when you were
Well,
saying?
I was just quoting somebody else who had said it. It was a whole article. I didn't quote the
No,
whole
but what
thing.
you said,
For
am I
me,
right in what I'm saying? Like what I
yeah,
said?
that's one aspect of it, definitely. But I think a microcosm, it's like it's the same thing as the microcosm of the story of Egypt. That microcosm, it's
Right.
almost like a formula. it has repeated itself throughout history. But what happens to Israel basically happens to the world. The things that uh, we are a nation like every other nation. He called us Goy, which means nation in Hebrew. Goy, Israel. So we are a nation specifically given a role. And when we fulfill that role, all the earth benefits from it. When we don't, all the earth suffers from it. We don't realize our our role. It's so important. And even though I try to explain it to some people, like I was trying to talk to my daughter about it, but she can't see it. That's why, it's frustrating because I realize only God can open the hearts. I can speak and speak and speak. I almost wonder sometimes why bother even speaking? Let's see what happens. I don't know. I just get I'm tired and confused.
But people who are open will receive it, and that's why what you do and what we do here is important, because even if it's two people, they're who receive it or are interested in learning more, that's what's important.
I think that's why Rabbi was able to do what he did, how he was able to break those paradigms, because there were a few of us who could understand. Because if you're the only one who believes the way you do, then you're probably insane. But at
Yeah,
least if there's one other person, either both of you are insane, or maybe there's some truth in it.
but there are others in the world who we don't even realize who do, even not totally. But look what Charlie Kirk said. I was watching something yesterday. Uh, somebody was talking to him and about how they call it the New Testament is a revelation that's more, well, let's say more powerful now, because the earlier revelations are not as. Anyway, Charlie Kirk got very passionate in his response, and he said, how could you say that the writings in the New Testament are more, let's say, unshakable than, for example, even Genesis? How could you say that? Said that's
Wow.
so I'm saying there are people who are, in other ways he's different, but that are hearing this and who are receiving it.
Wow. And then I also have to remember, because I think of how when Elijah was in the cave running away from Jezebel, how he thought he was the only one. He just wanted to die. He wanted to give up. And God told him, I have saved 7,000 who have not bowed the knee to Baal. So we aren't alone.
No,
We may feel isolated because I can never explain to other people who go to synagogue, because everybody's going to synagogue. And I was watching a service. One of my favorite synagogues is actually called the Central Synagogue in New York City. And one of the rabbis there is Angela Buchdahl. Her father is Korean and her mother's Korean and her father was Jewish. And I looked at, they never show everybody, the whole every Shabbat, they never show all the people in the seats. But on Yom Kippur, they showed everybody because it was packed. It's just like Christians who run on Christmas or Easter. We run on Yom Kippur. And we think that just by one day saying that we repent, we don't even know what we're repenting of, that's going to write us in the book of life. You know, we've made up our own religions, and it's hard. Sometimes I feel we're so alone. And then I remember God has kept 7,000. I don't have to know who they are. He knows. So it's really that's very encouraging to me. Mauricio, do you have something you'd like to add or say?
Yeah, a very short idea. Haazinu, it really refers to some to those to these points. Okay, first is about hearing, because that is from comes the word Haazinu,
Right.
and in the other is words. Okay, because if you look at all, this is the summary of the life of Moshe. Okay, he's singing, I would say, the whole life, and you suppose that all of us need to write our own song, okay, of life. Okay, some will be very melodic, another one will be very, not really melodic and not harmonious. That so, but at the end, uh, only the things that really left in this world are the words that we wrote. Okay, so uh, in this is very interesting, because everything in life is very similar for me, because the whole life is like this. Everything starts with the blessing. Okay, God is carrying Israel. God created the world for all of us. Started everything in the perfect creation of the eternal, with with the word's blessing. And God blessed the animals. God blessed the earth and everything that is inside. So uh, this is something that this is how God, the desire of God, is for all of us, blessing. But then the problem is that we have a problem as human, is in our nature. I would say the betrayal. Okay, we are rebellions. We rebel against God in different ways. You know, some are very, I would say, very open to rebel God, and there are others that probably we don't even know we are rebelling to God. Okay, uh, and then what God makes. Okay, you are rebel. You don't want my blessing, so I'm gonna hide myself.
Mm.
Okay,
We put a
so
facade.
yeah, and then people call this punishment. Okay, but it's not really a punishment. If the God, okay, is giving us the, I would say, the capacity to choose, and we choose that. Okay, that's the problem. And then God start to see that he's hide, nobody is looking at him. Okay, so I would say in this Haazinu portion, he restrained himself to destroy us, showing mercy. Okay,
Yeah.
and because he, as creator of everything, he can send another flood, for example. He can send fire. He can. We are we as humans, we are very, very fragile, and we do not accept that. Okay. Um, and you can see, for example, in my country, God sends a shower of rain, and everything is a mess. Okay. Or he moves just a little bit a tectonic plate, and then there is a mess. Okay, in everything we are not so strong
No.
as we consider. Okay, uh but the problem is rebellion, because when we give a space uh, to this characteristic of human nature, then uh,
Makes
we
it
start,
like
yeah, Yeah, he makes an earthquake. The problem is that we start to believe that we can be like God, and that is exactly what happened in Babel. Okay, in Babel, that is referring in this portion to 70, as you mentioned in the message, the 70 nations. Yes, they believe they were gods. Okay, so and but at the end, the love of God is so great for all, for those who repent, that He shows justice, redemption, okay, and love. So at the end, uh, the point is the redemption is returned back to the original plan of God, which is blessing, to live in blessing. So, um, you know, and this is not a problem of just of Moses or Mauricio, it's everybody in the world. I'm really surprised about the people who are really rebels. Okay, when because the rebellion is a kind of sin that you think you are right, and and the problem is that you cannot see what is really clear because your eyes are distorted from reality.
Right.
I can see today, for example, rebellion. I'm sorry to say this, but honestly, how the left in the world has created such kind of uh, liars about everything we can look at.
Yeah.
I really surprised, for example, that all these boys and girls at
We lost your voice.
yeah, and I'm really surprised that how all these flotilla members, okay,
Yeah.
all this crew, they said a lot of liars to everyone. They get up into the boats and no aid were found. Okay, supposedly they would like to give aid, but they only found some medicines that you know that you can storage in a bag,
Backpack.
yeah, in a backpack. So and then they said, oh, Israel has kidnapped me.
Exactly.
And they were not really kidnapped. They
No.
are they right now they are really protected. And then there are so many of them that they want to sign up a deportation form. So to not be judged, okay, just they return back to their countries in an airplane, okay, paid by Israel. So at the end, uh, the liars is that there are many activists that say, "Oh, Israel took these girls and start to shoot them with weapons and things like that." Everything is a liar. But why? Because rebellion, that is the problem. You believe in your own lies, okay?
Right.
And the problem is that this kind of sin uh, doesn't want to be alone. Wants that another persons come together and destroy everything. So what is God doing right now? When he sees all these things, he hides. Okay. That is why we need to look to search for him.
Mm.
We need to oh God, I want to find you. Okay. Because right now it's a mess. And honestly, um, what we saw, for example, in England this week, where 2 or 3 persons were killed, okay,
In Manchester in the
in
synagogue.
Manchester in a synagogue on Yom Kippur, this is just a reflect of of what people in the world is seeing right now, the hate. And the problem is that people cannot accept that God gave a responsibility to Israel. Okay, that's it. It's like, yes, we can all be uh, that that in the world we are called to love God. Everybody is son of God, but every nation has its own role. Okay, uh, in this, as you mentioned, I don't know what is happening. Probably what you are feeling, that tired, how you feel, in the desperation probably that you have, anxiety, is because um, there are many people like all of us that we love God. Okay, and when you see the world that is sinking into the rebellion, okay, it's like, oh God, what can I do? At the
Right.
end, okay, honestly, there is not so much that we can do, because the only one who can open their eyes is
Right.
God. We can pray for everybody. We can do what is good for all of us and for our family, our community, and try to show up the light of God. And we are not perfect. That's why I say, uh, try to do our best. Okay,
Right. Right.
but at the end, the only one who can open the eyes, who can call them, who can open the ears as Haazinu, is God. And so right now, uh, I'm feeling also very tired. I'm feeling, um, as you mentioned, um, really that you don't want to do. It's like, I would say it's like a spiritual depression.
Yeah,
Okay.
honestly, that's how it feels. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that, for example, is something that can remind you, for example, the prophet uh, Elijah, when he was in a cave, inside a cave. Well, he was looking. He was not looking himself as a prophet of God, even though he was a really great prophet. Okay, uh, who makes to the world. Okay,
Yeah.
miracles. Okay,
Miracle. Exactly.
yeah, but at the end, what he was looking at, he was
Himself.
looking that there were a king reigning over Israel, okay, who was not really a good man,
Oh,
okay. He was, um, he killed people, okay. He was an idolater, um, and he has a very bad wife,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And this wife, Jezebel, uh, start to corrupt all the Israelites, um, and turn to Israel to other gods. Okay, so at the end, and you can see them reigning, prosper, and so for so many years. I mean,
Yeah.
um, and you can see, God, where are you? So probably right now we are living these days.
Yeah.
Jezebel has raised up again
Yes.
as all these activists, the same spirit,
Yeah.
the love to destroy Israel, not for the people probably, but it's for what they represent to the world.
Mm.
Okay, so um, and probably right now, yes, we could be like Elijah, but God always, uh, show his justice because he's a God of justice. And at the end, we don't really know how will this end, but I believe that God is moving and He is, behind the scene right now. Okay. Uh, I pray honestly. Hamas probably will never leave Gaza. Okay, because this is like the spirit of the destruction of the sons of Esau.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's the spirit of Amalek.
the same spirit of Amalek
Yeah,
right there,
yeah,
and they spread it out in the world.
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
so in at the end, all the flotilla, for example, they were, sponsored by Hamas at the end. Okay, and all those who really wants to destroy Israel. And in the point is, that probably, I don't know what is going to happen, but I pray honestly that all the hostages that are alive still be released by tomorrow. Okay, that's the most important thing at the end. Okay, God sends the salvation. I you know I was really touched by the hell of uh, Sephardic rabbi in Israel. He was shouting at Yom Kippur, and he was shouting, "Oh God, probably forgive us for not praying enough to or properly for the release of the hostages." Okay, and that breaks me down honestly, because when you see that our people really, the most important thing is to bring them back to Israel. The war will be secondary. Okay, I'm very sure that for Hamas they will need a lot of time to rebuild, and a lot of years, money to rebuild. So, uh, but just uh, uh, give thanks to God for this plan of peace, so they can be released, and that's it. This is about Haazinu, right?
right,
Our song, our history,
right,
uh, what we're left in the world.
right. Thank you, Mauricio. Well, it's a lot to think about, a lot to pray for, and I'm as guilty also of not praying enough for the hostages and for our people. We need to pray and have mercy. It's a delicate balance, a delicate walk. Anyway, thank you for joining our service today. May God bless us and take care of us, each and every one of us. And may we live to see God's redemption on this earth. But for this week, we wish you a Hag Sukkot Sameach. We begin on Tuesday for those who are going to buy. If you have a lulav and an etrog, it's just a tradition, but it's a beautiful one. And so we'll see what we're going to do for Sukkot. Well, yes, Brian.
Mildred, she's not here. No?
No, she forgets. We need to pray for her. She forgets to come on. And then while she's on, she falls asleep. She's 97. She's going to be 98, so she's tired. Anyway, thank you for again. Shabbat Shalom. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Pardon?
It's gonna be 98, she'll be 89.
Yeah, right. All right. Take care of yourselves, everybody. God bless you. And remember to let's keep each other in prayer.